Well, obviously, what came out of that from the early 1960s on, you got a TV show, the Bob Newhart Show, and then Newhart. The Bob Newhart Show, personally, for me, was one of my favorites. Just
Oh,
enjoyed
thank
that
you.
show so much. The interplay between you and Suzanne Plachette and the others was just magical almost.
It was when we did Newhart with Mary Fran. I had to tell. I said, Mary, you got the toughest job in television because there was a chemistry between Susie and I said it's really going to be hard to equal that, But she did, she did.
Yes, she certainly did. Um, wh- with the Bob Newhart show, where you played the psychologist, did some of the humor that you did on radio previously kind of fold over into that?
Well, the whole idea of the psychologist really came from the record album and the telephone routines that I would do. Abe Lincoln or later on Sir Walter Raleigh and some of the other telephone routines. And I was sitting around with Dave Davis and Lorenzo Music, who were writers on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and we were trying to come up with a concept for a show. And they said, "Well, Bob is he's a good reactor. He listens to the person on the other end of the telephone." So they said, "Okay, so how do we take advantage of that?" And they thought, "Well, what profession is there where someone just sits and listens?" And they said, "Well, a psychologist." And and we can bring in these strange people, and Bob can just have his reaction to the strange people that keep coming into his patients. So the first record had a lot to do with our deciding to play a psychologist, which was at that time I always felt a gamble. I was never sure people would actually accept a psychologist as a viable occupation. I mean, they certainly
Hmm.
do now, but at that time, in 1960, there wasn't quite that acceptance.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about you. You've continued on, and you've had a successful career still on TV with, I think it's The Big Bang Theory that you're on or
Big
been
Bang,
on.
right now.
Yeah. Are you amazed at your staying power? I mean, you're starting in the 1960s, 1960, and you're still going strong at 85 years of age. I'm amazed.
Yes, I'm amazed by it. I never thought it was going to last very long, but at least enjoy it while you have it, and then 50 was it 54 years later,
Mm.
I'm still here, which is a great feeling. It's a wonderful feeling, and down all the people that I've been able to work with, Dean Martin and Johnny Carson and so many giants, that were just it's just been a wonderful run.
You still hanging out with Rickles?
Unfortunately, yeah, yeah. People always say, they say, "Gee, you're so unlike, and how can you, doesn't it drive you nuts?" And I said, "Well, first of all, I said you don't listen to it. If you listen to it, it'd drive you crazy. So it's like music, just kind of playing in the background, and every so often you tune in to hear what he's carrying on about, and then you tune out, and it's music again." No, he was on Craig Ferguson the other night. We just talked, and he was great. He was great. He has a lot of physical problems now, but it doesn't slow him down at all.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen him
amazing.
on TV a couple of times here recently.
Pardon?
I've seen him on TV a couple of times. I think he was on with Jimmy Fallon and some other talk show here just recently.
Yeah, he has a problem called spinal stenosis that affects his walk, and and it affects his getting. And then he had several operations for that. I forget the name of it, but it's that skin-eating disease, that bacteria that people get, and it
Yeah,
begins. So that was touch and go because no one knew what it was, and then they said, "Wait a minute, I think that's what this is," and they went in and got it out. But he went through I think it was 7 operations. But he's still on stage. He just recently played. I think he's just about to play Vegas again for God knows how many years.
Wow. Well, let's talk a little bit about playing Jamestown. You're going to be here, as we mentioned, a week from tomorrow night. What can people look forward to coming to the show?
Oh, just kind of observations of what a crazy planet this is we all inhabit, and hopefully we're able to get through it. There have been a lot of articles. I saw a recent one how important laughter is to general health. That they've done studies that have found that when people laugh, it extends their life. So, even if people don't like me, my comedy, they should come into the show just to maybe tack on a few years to their life.
There you go. Great idea. Great idea. Bob Newhart, you're still sharp as a tack with a button-down humor, and we appreciate your taking time to talk with us. It's been a joy for me.
Thank you, dear. I enjoyed it too.